just a few words to present tonight's lecture. It's a pleasure for the Lisbon Institute of Film Festival to receive Alfred Brendel and Willem Dafoe to read poems by Alfred Brendel. And it was something special for us and to try to bring to the public, like today, the aspects of the work, of the artistic work of great artists, and some of them they are not known particularly. And I think in Portugal, I don't think you know, the poems of Alfred were translated, and it's really a pleasure to have you here. Thank you, Alfred. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I first want to thank Willem Dafoe very warmly for his presence here today. Literature has always been my second life. And I do not want to miss the opportunity to greet our guest of honor here. Don't be afraid, I'm not obsessed by death, either on my board. But in the art of the 20th century, art, literature, visual art, there have been quite a few works, important works, that were created on the borderline of the grotesque and the macabre. And on the 17th, a film will be shown, Morgan, which I particularly admire, where a skeleton has a rather grotesque appearance. I recommend it. Before we start, please switch off your telephones. After arriving in paradise, we ask ourselves, skeptics to the last, what on earth is going on here? The deaf listen to music, while musicians have fallen silent. The dumb have acquired speech, while the eloquent start to babble. The lame run like weasels, when not darting through the air. We, the powerless, stay powerless, content, but with a tinge of regret, watching the ugly grow beautiful. Angels with blackened wings drop from the sky, and the serpent aim at us, hissing from its tree.
The angel of self-deceit, the avenger angel, the angel of absolute truth, the angel of total recall, the angel of selective oblivion, the angel of unrequited love, the laughing angel, the angel of health, organic, the angel of lost innocence, the mouse angel, Pegasus, Chimera, the change, the stranger, the ranger, the flying sausage, the angel of hullabaloo, the scavenger angel.
Big devils merely block the water pipes or get stuck in the chain. The fire brigade removes them routinely, while the small anonymous ones carry on their business unhampered. When nigh invisible, they nestle in our eardrum, nibble at our joints, or rattle through our thorax. How strange devils are sought after dinner guests, smiling coyly. They ogle the hostess with their yellow eyes.
Demons, scarcely distinguishable from gods, play on the furrows of our souls like instrumentalists, painful but with panache. When they squeeze us, we whine like dogs craving to get out and bark at the dark. Dog-like, we love to bite them, our tormentors, only to find ourselves biting our own tongues.
When the unnamable awoke from his primordial sleep, he found himself surrounded by angels of destruction, winged serpents, creatures of the primordial dawn, thousand-eyed and lustful. No one took notice of him. He hardly mattered anyway. A cosmic blunder, gleaming to be sure, yet discernible only through a telescope, aimlessly drifting across the universe, and now, until the end of time, taking flight from himself. Don't panic. I won't scratch you. Bite off your nose. Press the palm of my hand against your mouth. A feeling creature, that's what you are dealing with. A Jekyll and Hyde, to tell the truth, depending from which side you perceive me, whether straight or aslant, comforting or terrifying. Even the smallest shift can make all the difference. One step to the right, my clothes are gone. 2 steps back, a stoic stares at you. Seen from above, I appear green, while from a crouching position, my eyes acquire a satanic glow. When fortune smiles, I emerge as a complete hybrid, edifying to all who crave to comprehend the whole, the total cacophony, the unsevered, inseparably gaping outrage. You show me the door. I leave you creeping, if not hopping, wherever you go. I'll be there. After God's finger has been spotted in the crypt, it was the skeptics who at first gained the upper hand. There it lay, pinkish and meagerly covered with hair, an object of mischief, we assumed, stretching the entire length of the catacomb, its golden fingernail pointing at Saint Afra's remains. Questions arose when, all efforts notwithstanding, the monstrous trouvaille couldn't be shifted, resisting with ease the assault of axes, sledgehammers, and pneumatic drills. Further proof of divine intervention was the fact that the finger, rising into an erect position, reduced the upper church to rubble. As uncannily as it had materialized, the finger disappeared. The crude reproduction behind bulletproof glass is now on public display at the Museum of the Divine.
When Imam visits me, he quickly grows peckish. Even as he dictates his first lines, he gazes in my direction, smiling self-consciously. Before he sinks his teeth in, Emile has sharp teeth. Between mouthfuls, he continues his dictation. Once in a while, he digresses, flashing his burgundy red dentures, before diving down once more with a hiss.
In the hereafter, we can make up for all we missed in life. Beethoven, for example, can be retrieved as a baker. With his customary fury, he hurls the dough into the oven. The resemblance of his sonata movements to pretzels was first remarked upon by Tovey, but it was Schenker's acute ear that perceived the late bagatelles as poppy seed cake. The deceased master's most recent composition is Cursing Veils. Curse when you sink your teeth into them.
The gallows bird at sunset sits astride his gallows and sings. Not overly melodious, no match for blackbird or nightingale, but mightily expressive. Con sonna espressione, fervent like a circular saw whose motor suddenly cuts out when darkness pulls the noose.
When Godot finally arrived, it was a letter. That he was limping became evident from a distance. A small man with an outsized beard over which at times he stumbled, cursing softly. Explaining himself did not suit him. Accounting for his deeds was not his style. So he'd rely on puns, something he was good at. Children thought him amusing. When he threw them sweets, they caught them in midair, like bears in a zoo. But no one ventured near him, for that he was too unkempt, and his gaze betrayed the evil eye. Had it not been for his luminous tail, he might yet have gone unrecognized. It kept moving through the village, long after his master had vanished behind the hills.
Where those laughing angels could have emerged from remains obscure. Unfit for singing, they appear to some of us devils in disguise, if not downright human. Others see them as children who never learned to be wise, giggling in the face of a threatening world, unfeeling as gods.
Once a year, as hell and heaven open their gates, devils and angels join in playing the human game. Forgoing old family feuds, they fraternize, fool around, mock God and Satan, and whir like mating cockchafers, double-decker style, through Earth's orbit. At the end of the day, when Gabriel summons the winged armies back to their garrisons, they struggle, disoriented, to recall whence they came or where they belong. Good moment. We now enter the department of humans and phantoms.
Wouldn't you perhaps like to become a hero? Withstand tyrants, swallow fire in the circus, freeze coatless in midwinter, conduct a 100-piece orchestra, radiate from within like Gerard Free, grab fate by the throat, a la Beethoven, persevere in matrimony, die gallantly for a truth, idea, cause, not however before consigning as many as you can to their graves. Stand erect on the column, bid goodbye to this world stately and stoical as a monarch. Let yourself be butchered for your country. Be a man. We'll carry you on our shield, arrange for your posthumous fame.
Looking at his watch, his face fell. Where on earth was Josephine? In 5 minutes he knew the world would end. An event he'd rather not witness alone. Clearly, she'd be standing in front of the mirror, putting on eyeliner, stepping out of one shoe into another, or rummaging through her jewelry. The sky had acquired a greenish tint. Tiny puffs of smoke appeared, while, under his feet, there was a suspicious crackling. A bang, not unduly loud, reached his ear before he fainted. When he awoke, someone was sprinkling him with water. The world was still there. Josephine, wearing an enormous hat, opened the terrace door and said, "Was that it?" The moment has arrived to write a love poem. Most of you will be familiar with the feeling, but finding the words, the candid tone, the faint tremor of the voice, this is what we'll try to accomplish today. To explain anything would be a mistake. Faced with countless ambiguities, our leaders would desert us in droves. Rather, we should determine whom or what we propose to love. Women, children, dogs, mankind, the universe. I personally would disregard dogs and target the brunette next door. With a bit of luck, she'll turn into another Laura or Suleika. Those keen on detail should concentrate on a particular feature, the chin, the back of the knee, the curve of the bosom. Others, by contrast, are bound to use a broader canvas, command a legion of laurels, embrace one or all of the goals. As for style and technique, paradox, euphemism, or aposiopesis would suit our purpose. Now, kindly start writing.
There's something between us, sneaking, unnoticed, turning our head toward each other, directing our eyes across the room into the other's eyes until they kindle, radiate, yet open in the inner darkness into which we plunge. Our eyes dazzled, while the phantom between us, a perfect puppeteer, draws our strands together for a fleeting moment of truth. Suddenly, it has become simple to lose yourself in love. One day you look for yourself and find nothing. At least, not where you would expect yourself to be, namely in yourself. Sure, you must be out of your mind. Not really, just like Mary, subject to a new paradoxical gravity which, gravitating into the air, lifts you up to her, heart over heels, a doting astronaut.
There are, if I haven't miscounted, 17 different kinds of love. Not to be spelled out, of course, as they must be experienced with a trained awareness to be sure of telling them apart. Most demanding of all is to watch yourself loving, scrutinize, catalogue, compare, a feat requiring perseverance, zeal, and an ample reserve of friends. Of all 32 love-inducing components, a mere 5 or 7 might manage, if fleetingly, to undermine reason. 20 or more are bound to achieve something more concrete, albeit without fully removing the peril of a single unfortunate item tipping the scales. The turn of the voice, for example, eyes placed too close to the nose, religious mania, or nipples inexplicably missing. The rarest of brands is number 16. People claim it doesn't exist. Believe me, it does.
As soon as the virtual people decided to behave like you and me, we knew our game was on. There they sit, too sleek of face for our comfort, pour their tea, or languidly into each other's eyes, or collapse laughing. Impeccably, yet with notable refinement, they play the piano, procreate discreetly next door, and shoot the pigeons from the roof, while we veterans of normality see no way out, but to mutate into angels, or even better, turn horrendously evil.
Join the club, be a cannibal. Those succulent breasts, rosy steaks, earlobes, and toneless toes will see you through the next famine. The sheer abundance guarantees nourishment forever. Even so, be fastidious and cannibalize where possible your loving ones. The right love-hate tolerance is bound to boost the nutritional value. On dismal days, aim at your outright foe. Coffers, harpies, arbiters of musical taste. There, the pleasure of biting them to bits will be reinforced by the utter nobility of your deeds, the proud achievement of gratifying your fellow citizens no less than yourself. For the sake of your colleagues, keep yourself adequate at all times.
That piano should not merely be cooked, but also smoked, has recently been discovered by patrons. A fire in the local piano store surprisingly revealed that smoked pianos sound nobler than cooked ones. In huge fireplaces they now hang, those dispensers of musical delight like blackened hams. Before smoky, red, and spicy, they satisfy the punishment. Henceforth, the famous house of Busenstein will refrain from boiling pianos hard or soft, according to taste.
One could stand there, left foot slightly forward, concentrated yet relaxed, a mature man, neither arrogant nor subservient, and wait for the audience to be silent and attentive, before one started to laugh explosively, to the point where somebody joined in, or in a serious country like Italy, shook his head. One could then aim at the fire hose at the first row, unless one preferred to bow politely, sit down, and play something by Brahms, while releasing simultaneously a handful of mice in order to make the ladies climb onto their chairs, squeak in terror, and pull their skirts over their heads, a maneuver that unfailingly makes the mice take flight. One could leave the hall, fire the fire escape, armed with beer and cigar, to sign autographs at the nearby coffee house, sincerely Brahms, on napkins and handkerchiefs, blouses and bosoms, on earlobes just bricks.
Losing one's head is not devoid of danger. It may take hours, if not days or weeks, to surface again, covered in dust and grime. Instead of searching on all fours, you'd better tell the housekeeper to poke beneath the furniture with mop and broom. Since round objects are quick to roll into remotest corners, it might be prudent to keep the balcony door firmly shut, lest the head stray onto the sidewalk, ending up in undesirable hands. Headless piano playing is, of course, perfectly feasible. The audience would appreciate it, however, if we exhibited the severed object suitably clean and clearly visible on the concert ground, sporting a stiff collar and thoroughly immersed in the music. It will enhance our enjoyment by its grimaces. See how the mouth twitches, the jaws tremble, the eyes bulge, and the teeth at the final chord are bared like a beast's.
When, after the 12th encore, the tottering purveyor of sonatas, fugues, and polonaises waved his final goodbye, a faint tremor merged with the public's palpitations before, screeching and splintering, the golden organ leapt out from the wall and plummeted, smothering the concert band. Presiding over the heap of shattered organ pipes, the caryatines kept their cool, while far from aloof, all 27 statues of the world's truly great composers hurled themselves row by row, lemming-like, from their pedestals. The end of an era, pronounced a strident voice, swiftly to be silenced by the muffled thud of Schubert's left leg. It could be weeks, if not months, before the musical community regains its footing. The last part of this reading deals with sense and nonsense, which are not necessarily opposed to each other, but can in many ways combine, interact, overlap, or become indistinguishable.
We are the rooster and the hen. We're also little chickens. And what about the egg? Who is the egg? We are the egg, the yolk as well as the white. Furthermore, we are the fox that gobbles the eggs. Gosh, we're everything.
Look how the chief of chiefs carries on squatting in one of his black holes, ready to hatch some inanity. What will it be this time? A few galaxies, or merely a new, badly functioning biped? Now and then he sucks an entire universe from his gouty fingers. Then he laughs his resounding laugh, licks his lips, and threatens us with his golden fingernail. Of course, he isn't real, but we still exalt him, our supreme target. After all, we need something to shoot at or love.
At the end of the grueling day, the rheologist treated himself to a cognac. At last, he had accomplished his goal of filming a congregation which, spurred on by the preacher, fell about in their flagstone aisles, convulsed with laughter. Perfect proof that God was a humorist and laughter good for the soul. As for himself, it was a close shave. How he would love to laugh along, but professional pride held him in check. Rheologists do not laugh. The strain of his shoe still ached in his palms now. However, in peaceful domestic seclusion, he could scarcely wait to save the video undisturbed. As a precaution, he lay down full length on the carpet, lest he damage the back of his skull during schooling or screeching with mirth. He toppled over, consumed by laughter, as if succumbing to a secret vice.
He sprang from his mother's body, laughing, cheered on by the midwife who caught him in midair. He rushed through classrooms and barracks, laughing, swept through walls. Women loved him, as he somersaulted, laughing in the lap. Laughing, he subjugated the country, his laughter acquiring a sardonic note. When unannounced, he stopped laughing for good. His subjects rebelled. Too many had wanted to watch him die laughing.
When the Dadaist looked into the mirror, he saw some fetching contradictions in himself and his opposite. Tomfoolery in method, sense within nonsense, anarchy and poise, a slice of the world, yet nothing at all. The mirror image showed women, children, a sheep, Beethoven, a mustachio, even little Jesus paid his respects with his tongue stuck out, of course. Not that any of this surprised him. He knew he was floating, as people in dreams float over flights of stairs, or keeping at least an airy balance, laughing with earnest eyes, muttering comical curses, gracefully howling. Might the contradictions vanish if one persisted long enough in their midst?
No one believes me, yet I can only repeat, it was I who killed your hamster, the doves in the dovecot, the sheep beneath your window, the magpies and moles, the cyclist on the road, the beggar staring at your house, the woman in your arms, mother, father, not I, who wink at you in the mirror. You are next.
Having breathed our last, we instantly start breathing again. Our life runs in reverse. Only a moment ago they stood in line, our nearest and dearest, their faces twisted with weeping. Dry-eyed, they depart while our skin tautens, till we ourselves gingerly leave the house. Even the angels withdraw, fading in the mirrors like black imps. Rewound, the world grows young again, and in the end, blots us out once more.
Merely expanding won't do. Let us temper ourselves as well, be rarefied, even evaporate without a trace. By all means consolidate, but don't fail simultaneously to dissolve, liquefy, minute with. The most sophisticated way of speaking softly is silence.